So if there's one thing that used to confuse the life out of me as an intermediate guitarist, it was these things called the modes. Now, the modes are something that I think are often talked about on the internet, and they are often kind of misportrayed, in my opinion, as someone who's gone through a music degree and now has a very intimate understanding of all of the modes and how you apply them. So the goal of today's video is to go through everything you need to know about the modes, clear away all the BS about them, and show you what they are and kind of an introduction to how to use them. I'm going to get more into how to specifically apply each of the modes in a later video, but recently a lot of my students have been asking questions about the modes, so I figured it was a good kind of impetus for this video. So let's go all the way back to the beginning, and we're going to talk about all 7 of the modes of the major scale. Now, if we were going to use an example, we might as well use C major as our kind of house for all of these modes. And C major is actually a mode. It's the first mode. We would call it C Ionian, which is the fancy Greek name for a scale that contains the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now, C major is commonly going to be used over a C major chord if we use it, and if we wanted to talk about scale degrees, it gives us the root, the second, the major third, the perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and the root. So most of us are familiar with the idea of a major scale. It sounds like this. And I'll use this to compare and contrast with another mode in a little bit. Now, if I were to take those same notes, so C, D, E, F, G, A, and B, and I were to change them so that I started on D, so this would be the second mode. So the way that the modes work is you take a parent major scale, and you play that same collection of notes, but you make a different note feel like home. So if I made D feel like home, if I played those same notes but from D to D, I would have D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and D. So that, if I were to play those notes in order, notice how this no longer sounds like a major scale. And that's kind of the key thing, is that I think a lot of people try to think of the modes. It's great to know where they come from, but D Dorian I think of as a separate thing to the major scale. I don't think about it as C major starting from the second. I think about it as it's this whole different scale. Because if I look at the notes and the relationships I get, if I think of D as my home, this is actually a minor scale. So I would have D, which is my root, E, which is my second, F is a minor third, so this fits a sad kind of chord quality, G is going to be my fourth, A is my fifth. Now this is the kind of cool note about Dorian. All of the modes have at least one note that makes them kind of spicy and interesting. I have the note B natural, and this is a major sixth in a minor scale. So if I were playing D minor, the sixth would be B flat, but since I'm in D Dorian, it's a major sixth. Then I get C, which is my flat seventh, and then I get D again, which is my root. So this D Dorian scale will work perfectly over most D minor chords in any instance that they come up. And the cool thing, again, after I've gone through all of them, I'm going to show you how and where you can use them. But just remember, if you're taking notes or just take a mental note, that the cool thing about Dorian is that it's a minor scale with a major sixth. Some people call it the happy major scale. It's a beautiful, slightly brighter sound than you would normally get. Now, our next mode would be Phrygian. Phrygian is the third mode of the major scale. And that would be, if I played again, the same collection of notes, but I'm going to start from the note E. So I'm still playing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, but now I would play it as E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. So I'm now making E feel like home. And again, when thinking about Phrygian, I want you to think about it as it's a separate scale from the major scale. It is housed within the major scale, but to actually use it and see what's cool about it, you want to be using it and thinking about it as if it's its own entity. So, if I played E to E here, it would sound something like this. Some people like to describe this sound as Eastern. I think it's a little bit of a vague descriptor, but I do get what they mean, where you get this. Sorry, I played a bad note there. Let me do that one more time. That is an E Phrygian kind of sound. Now, if I look at the actual content of this scale, I have E, my root, F, which is a minor second. This is a big part of what gives it that Eastern flavor. That flat 2 is the really cool note about E Phrygian, or just about Phrygian in general, is it has a flat second. I go to G, that's my minor third. I keep going, I get A, that's my fourth. B is my fifth. C against E would be a flat sixth or a minor sixth interval. D is my flat 7 or minor 7, and then E again is my root. So this scale, once again, is a minor scale, but in contrast to Dorian, this is probably the darkest, well, this is the darkest flavor of minor that we have available to us from the modes of the major scale. So over any E minor 7 chord, if I want to make it sound a little bit darker and more mysterious, I get this Phrygian sound. So Phrygian is like a minor scale with a flat second. The flat second or minor second is the cool note about E. Now, our next mode of C major is going to be F Lydian. This is the fourth mode of C major, and this guy is a major scale, which is cool. And the thing that makes this one cool is that it has a raised fourth, so it has a sharp 4. This gives it a really bright kind of sound, and I'll show you what I mean by that anyway. So again, F Lydian is made by playing the notes of C major, but making F feel like home. So if I consider all of these notes around the root of F, I would have F, my root, G, my major second, A, my major third. This is B, which is my sharp 4. C, which is my perfect 5th. D, which is my major 6th. E is going to be a major 7. And then F is my root again. So this scale sounds similar to the major scale, but it's a little bit brighter to my ears. So F Lydian all the way through would sound like this. One note too far. I'll do that one more time. Nah. That's Lydian. Now, the fifth mode is a little bit special. This is a dominant mode. So it's not major, it's not minor, it's dominant. So this fits over 7th chords. So G7 would be, G7 would be the perfect companion for this mode. And again, it's all the notes of the C major scale. This is the 5th mode, so G is my 5th, and I am going to make all of those notes sound like they're centered around G. So if I go here to this G, and I play all the notes of C major 7, these are my intervals. So I would have G, which is my root, or my 1, A, which is my major 2nd, B, which is my major 3rd, C, just a perfect 4th, D is going to be my 5th, E is my 6th, major 6th, F, I get a flat 7 or minor 7 here, and then I go to my root G, again at the top there. And so in context, this guy is going to sound like this. Haha, screwed that up. Let me do that one more time. So that works perfectly over this G7 kind of sound. It's a dominant chord. It's not just a major or minor triad. So anywhere where you are playing over the 5 chord of the key that you're in, so if I was playing a chord progression that went C, F, G, over G, that's a great mode to play. Now, the 6th mode of the major scale is Aeolian, and this is again a fancy Greek name, but we already probably know this one. This is a minor scale. So what we call the minor scale is actually housed within the major scale itself. So if I play all the notes of C major from the note A, I end up with the A natural minor scale. Now the A natural minor scale contains the following notes. So I'm playing C major again, but everything, I want to make A feel like home. So I'm going A, which is my root, B, which is my major second, C is going to be a flat third, D is my 4th, E is my 5th, F is my flat 6th, G is my flat 7th compared to A, and then A is my root again. So this scale sounds like that. Now, my final mode, and this one is not super commonly used unless you're into kind of like jazz or fusion music, because this is not a minor mode, it's not a fully diminished mode, it is a half diminished mode. So this chord belongs on top of a minor 7 flat 5 chord. Pretty much is the only place that you would use it, and this is only really commonly used in jazz. It will pop up every now and then in different songs, different chord progressions, but it's very rare to find it outside of jazz music. But this 7th mode, Locrian, exists if I play all the notes of C major, but I make B feel like my home. So the notes for B, Locrian, and the intervals would be as follows. We get B, my root, C, which is a flat 2 in this case, or a minor second, D is my minor 3rd, E is my 4th, F, I have a flat 5 there, G, a flat 6th, A is my flat 7, again this is all related to the note B, and then B is my root again. So this mode would sound like this. And again, this is commonly used over minor 7 flat 5 chords, which are not crazy common. So if you're going to neglect one mode, this is kind of an acceptable one to do, but it's nice to understand the theory behind it. So all the modes are making new scales out of the major scale. I don't want you to think, sometimes my students think, well, oh, if I play E Phrygian over a C major chord, that'll sound super cool. And it won't really, because in that context, playing the notes of E Phrygian, which is the 3rd mode, if you've forgotten, of C major, if I have that, like let me record a quick loop if I were to go. If I play E Phrygian, it's not going to sound mind-blowing over this. It just sounds like I'm playing in C major. The cool way to get the most out of your modes is to break them down and use them for different chord types. So for example, if I was playing over that C major, I would just think Ionian a lot of the time, especially if it was functioning as the 1 chord in the situation I was playing in. But, so if I have C major, I'll play that actually same backing track. And I'm just going to play C Ionian or C major notes. And I actually dipped my toes into what I was going to talk about next. If you remember, there was one other mode that I talked about when I was talking about their either major modes or minor modes or dominant modes or half diminished modes. The other major mode is the fourth mode, Lydian. So if I played C major but raised the fourth, I would have C Lydian. So that would go C, D, E, F sharp. That's my sharp 4. So rather than just F, it's F sharp, G, A, B, C. I can get this different. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play that backing track again. And again, it's a pretty mediocre backing track I made with a loop. But I'm going to start in C major. And then I'm going to play in C Lydian. And you'll be able to actually hear the different colors that kind of come out from thinking about these two things. So, here's C major over this. Here's Lydian now. It's got a little bit, and here I'll just play them straight so you can hear the kind of difference. Ionian, Lydian. Versus so it's just really a different color that you have available to you. And then the same thing exists with a lot of minor chords. So of the modes of the major scale, there are 3 that are minor. You have Dorian, which is the happy minor, so it has a flat 3rd and a flat 7th. So it'll fit over any minor chord. If I do the same thing but with C minor, here I'll play Dorian. So my notes are C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. I hit a bum note, but now, if I wanted to take that a step darker, I could play C natural minor or C Aeolian. And now C Aeolian has the flat 6th. So my notes would be C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. So this will sound a little bit darker. I'll start in Dorian, and then I'll flip to Aeolian so you can see if you can hear the change. So here's Dorian. Now here, I got a little way for myself there, but there's a darkness to it. So C Dorian versus C Aeolian or minor. Here's Dorian one more time. Here's Aeolian. Now, if I wanted to take it one step darker, I could also play C Phrygian over this C minor. And Phrygian is going to be as dark as I can possibly go because it has a flat 2nd on it. So that flat 2, I'll play them all for you straight, and then I'll do one where I kind of go back in varying degrees of darkness. So here's C Dorian, the happiest minor scale available to me. C Aeolian, 1 shade darker. And now here's C Phrygian, as dark as I can get. And now here I'll do that same thing. I'll play over that dun dun dun, and I'll play C Dorian, then I'll play C Aeolian, and then I'll play C Phrygian. So you can actually hear the kind of difference. So here's Dorian. Here's Aeolian. Here's Phrygian. Now, Mixolydian would apply over any dominant chord, but there aren't really a bunch to kind of sample through and show you in that way. So anytime you see a dominant 7 chord, or you're playing over a chord that's the 5 chord of that key, you can use that corresponding Mixolydian scale. So say, for example, I was in the key of F, and there's a big stretch of a C major chord. I could play C Mixolydian over that C chord, because that's the 5 chord of F. And then for the minor 7 flat 5 half diminished Locrian mode, you can use that whenever there's a minor 7 flat 5 chord. But I really hope this video helped. If there's anything that's unclear about it, please let me know. Again, I'll try to answer any questions you have in the comments, because these modes are something that confuse so many intermediate guitarists, and they're actually something that's really, really simple, and I think they're misdescribed a lot. I'm going to make a follow-up video on this one where I talk specifically just about how to apply these things. And if you're curious for getting these scales under your fingers, I also have a playlist down below where I go through and show you how to play every single one of those modes all over the guitar neck, so that you can explore and start getting the sound under your fingers. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. As a small YouTuber, it really, really helps me a lot. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, I'm taking new students right now. You can get in touch with me at the link down in the description there. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. I also have a Patreon page if you were looking for a way to support me and the free educational content that I put out on this channel. As a Patreon subscriber, you will get early access to videos, as well as some cool behind-the-scenes sneak peeks at music that I'm working on or writing, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. I also have available down in the description my ebook that is full of scales and arpeggio diagrams, as well as all of these modes that I just outlined for you, as well as a video course that's all about triads all over the guitar. So it's another great way to get some good educational content and help support the channel. And last but not least, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.